Hello, everyone. My name's Yuta Jazz, and we're going to continue the Occult Saga podcast where I talk about mysticism, occultism, spirituality, mindfulness, and just all that whoop and that jazz. So continuing like the current arc, I guess, that's kind of appearing, we're going to talk about timelines and parallel realities because that stuck out to me this past week. Also, it's kind of on point with the point of manifestation, telepathy, and other things. So the thing is, time one is not linear. There's a bunch of strands of time, reality, possibilities, probabilities, and all the rest. There's kind of like this precognition thing that happens in the universe where you have a certain vibration frequency alignment, which we'll get into what those things are another time, but vaguely, I think everyone can understand those points if you've at all spent any time in school, physics, or just reading up on the internet via, the culture. But the thing is, you align to a certain frequency, and that kind of pinpoints you in this like reality, quantum grid, whatever, on what's going to happen, what reality are you on. So, how we feel these realities, timelines, and possibilities and parallel realities is basically we in ourselves have aspects that are being reworked. They're being alchemized, purged, basically, you know, completely built up new or broken down to ground zero so you can refresh. And you basically lock onto a feeling more so than just an idea or visualization of what you want. If you're visualizing and thinking of the thing not as a point of like, oh, this is, a checklist, a standard, or like the exact thing and person I want, then you're focusing on the actual genuine, authentic desire, feeling and joy or whatever you have with the point of like what type of life you want in feeling. How do you want it to feel? What type of people do you want to have there? What type of vague ideas for either jobs or career or opportunities or money inflow or flow out do you want to have this experience so it feels this way? So you are that version of yourself. So you are there, right? So you start switching timelines whenever you actually shift internally on an emotional, deep belief level, or in general, just like something that is so core thought to you that then you can actually start switching around. So an example would be, let's say, I don't believe there's any good people in the world. I don't know if I can find friends. I don't know if I can find my partner. All women, men, whatever in between are the same, right? I can't find what I'm looking for or want to. So you're basically going to spend about however much time you need between few months or years reworking that core feeling and belief that usually in us is also a physical thing or can manifest as like a physical thing. It goes through different layers to become something real, right? You're working on that thought and feeling, and then you're moving on to it kind of diminishing, right? So you can replace that belief, thought, emotion with something that suits you with the reality you want to land in. So in one reality, you're alone, you don't have good friends, or everyone's like out to get at you and manipulative and all the rest, and you believe that and you feel it and you go through it, right? Until you disconnect and detach from that as being true, and until you change, right, it's not really going to go away. So you need it to like drip out of your life so you can actually start pouring in something new you want. You need space for that new timeline, that new reality to actually occur. Because as you're purging the old stuff, you're co-creating the new stuff. You're connecting astrally and spiritually with possible friends from the future, or even like present opportunities or present choices and possibilities, right? And it's kind of like a staircase that you're constantly working through step by step to end up where you want to. So there's always a possibility that you can go up or you can go down or sideways or whatever. But you're basically like, I really like this analogy from, I believe, Jessa Reed, where it's like there's just a bunch of train tracks and you're constantly like quantum jumping through those train tracks. So you keep aligning to the thing you want. Parallel realities also work in a similar way because we kind of like jump through a bunch of all of them. If you've known anything about like the Mandela effect or experienced it yourself or just like woke up and you're like, I'm not in the same planet or the same world, history facts are not the same, my home isn't the same, something about your surroundings isn't the same, like for some reason things that shouldn't be, out in the street or around buildings or just on buildings or even with people actually is there, maybe some memories like swapped out and stuff like that. So those things are like clear signs for spiritual people that you've switched a timeline because something in physical reality literally shifted and changed. You woke up in a different parallel reality. So parallel realities are a bit different because they're actually so much more, I'd say, vast and like multifaceted because they're not just, different variations of our truth or reality or worlds. In a way, yes, but that's more so different timelines because different timelines of the planet, right, can show you like, oh, so this is like how all of these details add up to this being that reality, or these details add up to that reality. Parallel worlds and realities, they can actually be also not just like planet Earth timelines, I'll say it like that. They can also be little limbo pockets of a certain place. It could be actually also where there's like a bit of a denser or darker resonance. You might even find or experience really weird beings. You might experience where there's more UFOs, less UFOs, more monsters, less monsters, more spirituality, less spirituality, and those are like the parallels between all of the worlds. It's like this main branch from where, you have all of these different timelines of those worlds or parallels. So, yeah, if this all flew over your head, don't worry. You really don't need to know how like the macrocosm of it works. It's just important to know that in your microcosm, in your own personal individual life, you have so much choice in what you want to create and manifest that it doesn't really matter where you are at. It's important to know that you can always find yourself in a better world and create something worthwhile and like meaningful to you that is actually healthy and happy, but it's not just a physical experience. It's not just a physical transition. It is very much deeper to the individual and person, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, but it's also an energetical, metaphysical occurrence that's kind of just natural, right? Everything is consciousness and energy and light. So through the prism of like either perspective or vibration and alignment or where you're sitting at personally to yourself, you can actually literally be in, worlds where you wouldn't have imagined yourself to be. And it's all a feeling, it's always kind of primarily a feeling because we don't really know how practically things can add up for us to have the experience we want, but the universe and God and whatever else you believe, they know that, right? Everything's working together to get like the best harmony and alignment of life between everything, everywhere, at all times. So as long as you can find that within yourself, it's like you start attracting yourself to different worlds, and those worlds attract to you, and they also shift and shape. There we go. By you, because we're all kind of just one ocean, and every drop has their own say in co-creation. I really suggest, I guess, giving yourself faith and belief and trusting and understanding that instead of it just being this line that you're following in life, right? There's so many different orbs across like this just multi-dimensional plane where you can jump around and kind of go wherever you need to really advance in life and really find yourself and find that truth of the world that you need to see and experience and really feel for you to go forward. It does take time. It's not an overnight thing. Nothing in magics really is like that instant because even if you have an instant transition or shift or change, that means you've been preparing for it for a really long time so it can happen in that moment exactly without any limitations or anything holding you back or blocking you in, the spiritual or whatever realms. And it's it can be discouraging because at first like it's kind of like how do I climb over these thoughts, beliefs, or even this physical evidence that constantly gives me input and stimuli that this is reality and this is how it works, right? Well, that's the biggest mission here inside of any person is to find your own co-creation and power and passion and sovereignty as who you are existing. And that's a lot of fucking work, honestly. It is. In general, even when you figure out like such things exist or that this hack really works, it takes a lot of like getting to know yourself and then trusting in the journey you're following to break out of like old dense paradigms or old negative like cycles or life loops or whatever it is to then be like, oh my God, all of this happened so it crumbled away so I can end up where I really wanted to and where I was meant to. So yeah, try and see how you are switching timelines day to day, because I guess in a way, some people say like you don't ever go to sleep or wake up the same person because you shift overnight and then you shift through the day. But then also look at how major or minor those shifts can, become in your life. Maybe you'll actually even start noticing not just synchronicities and numbers and symbols and maybe like people or conversations or just occurrences, but maybe you can actually start seeing physical reality shift, as in a house changes, something appears that wasn't there before, a building maybe disappears, maybe, something concrete just shifts and changes like that, and see, how that can blow open your mind and your life and your reality. Because those things do happen, but just not everyone experiences them. Not everyone needs to, honestly, right? If you can jump from being chronically depressed one night to being absolutely happy the next, that's enough. That's enough. But that transition might take a while. But yeah, I just recommend be open, check it out, see where you're at, see how maybe you can change your relationships or create some magical weird stuff just by finding more clarity and peace and honesty and like acceptance within yourself, because honestly everything changes when you can be at peace with yourself, and then obviously the world as well. But yeah, I guess I'm the person that thinks that more so you need to figure yourself out with yourself and make that journey than just like conquer the world, considering how it shapes around us. So yeah, I swear everything I do online is just getting shorter. It's all just getting shorter. Oh my lord. Uh, yeah, we already spoke about the point that you can dream t different timelines, but you can also dream parallel realities. That one's a little bit different and well, iffy, because the thing is, you yourself actually have this like remembrance of other worlds as you go through your dreams and dream states, and that can last over a few years. That you have like maybe one, two, three dreams, right? um, that show you like living your life in a different reality or a different Earth or a different even time at some points. But usually it's the same time, just different world and different history has occurred. If you have like memories of a past reality like that, it could be from your dreams, not just, a Mandela effect on the physical level. And I guess with parallel worlds, it's it's important to not really I don't know, go to weird places at weird times when you have a weird bad feeling about them, because that's when you can experience like really odd incomprehensible experiences like missing time, meeting weird fucking beings you can't explain, meeting weird people, ending up in places that look older than they should be, right? So some say it's time travel. I don't know. You figure out what the fuck that is. I'm not here to necessarily define that or describe that. I haven't had that experience. But yeah, it's important to kind of not get lost in quantum reality and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know why I need to add that, like this sentence towards the end of that sentence that I just did. But also, some people haven't actually like gotten out of parallel realities. Like usually you have a dip and then you appear somewhere and then 15 minutes or an hour, whatever, how long later, then you reappear where you were, right? Or something like that. In parallel reality, I guess, I don't know, traveling, that doesn't always happen. So I really don't know how to recommend people to protect themselves against that or to like get out of realities they don't want to be in like that because that's not the same as just jumping timelines. That's actually dipping interdimensionally. Or finding weird portals in the world, or just magnetic fluctuations that we cannot explain yet, like scientifically, right? We can just document what occurs, but we don't really know what happens. Um, yeah, and stuff like that. So be careful around those, I guess. But in terms of always being able to end up at a better place than where you started, that's just facts. That's just facts. Yeah, I keep overviewing like what else do you have to say, but I feel like this one's just as it is. So I'm just gonna leave it here. Screw it. I don't really have a min or max amount of how long my episodes go, except for I hope they don't really go over 2 hours in loops, you know. But yeah, I think this is a great enough entry. When I'll have more weird experiences and practices I can recount, I will, I guess, share on them. I am thinking on adding a substitute, not a substitute, a complement to this podcast, which would be just me talking about my weird stories and experiences throughout life when it comes to these experiences, because I think it would be fun. I don't really talk about them to many or any people. I've spoken about some things on Twitch, but I haven't really personally shared too much, and there's just oogles boogles of it. So that might come around in the future. If you like this podcast, let me know if you would actually like want videos of me just talking about my experiences and what happened. They're probably gonna be way shorter. They'll be like, I don't know, between 5 and 30 minutes. And then, yeah, I'm slowly coming back to Twitch, but I've been doing real life sessions more so. So if you've been looking around for me to read you some cards on Twitch, you know where to find me on Etsy. There is also Discord if you want to DM me about it, and we can talk and figure some details out. If you don't know how to find my Discord, go to Twitch. And exclamation Discord should show you the link, and then I don't know. I guess I'll do like a few more pickup piles unless you guys have specific tarot card readings you want, either collective or otherwise. And we'll see where everything goes and ends up, basically, practically, I guess. So yeah, if you want uplifting quotes for just, you know, I don't know, cute vibes, good vibes, healing stuff, then you can go to my Instagram because I share some stuff on my story there and occasionally post now too, which is just poems and, you know, good vibes and reminders and shit like that. So, yeah, that's where you can find me. That's what we can do. I hope you be you happily, as healthily and prosperous as you can be. And I'll see you another time whenever I see you, whenever that'll be. So, yeah, peace, blessings, and see you next time. Bye bye.